Welcome to Studio G's weekly recap, where I sit down with the journalists who shot this week's top stories. Studio G starts right now. Welcome to today's edition of Studio G's magazine show. I'm your host for this week, Nicole Reynolds. We're going to try something new. I have a panel of reporters who brought us this week's top stories sitting down with me to discuss their work. Here to recap this week's top stories are Andre Walls, who takes us ways to decrease terrorism and identity theft, Monica Medrano, the reporter who brought us into the world of taxidermy, and Alyssa Stein, the reporter that took us onto the ice. Our first story told us about a new effort that is being implemented across the country in order to decrease terrorism and identity theft. Reporter Andre Walls fills us in on what could happen and what we can do to help ensure that people are who they really say they are.
A new form of identification called the Real ID is planning to come into effect for everyone in the United States by 2016.
The Real ID Act of 2005 is a federal law that was passed in response to the 9/11 terrorist attacks, and it sets minimum standards for proof of identity for driver's licenses across the country. We want you to show us your proof of identity one more time so that we know who you are and we can verify your documents and verify that you're in the U.S. legally.
Authorities ensure that the Real ID is an optional program, but without one, a person will not be permitted to boarding aircraft or enter federal facilities.
Real ID is an optional program. You don't have to comply with it, but if you don't, the license will say not for federal official use on it. And eventually the federal government will not accept those licenses for entering federal facilities or for boarding aircraft.
I do a lot of traveling in the country and overseas, and I think it would probably make it easier for me to travel.
If you travel around the country, if you're going to be moving, that Real ID is good for identification in other states as well. You can just go into the DMV office and just trade it for a license from that state.
When you upgrade your standard ID to a Real ID, you will receive a gold circle with a star cut out on your license that you don't have to renew once you've updated it. This ensures your identity in the system, which ultimately hopes to reduce fraudulent behavior from other people.
The purpose of the Real ID Act is to help keep valid driver's licenses out of the hands of the bad guys, criminals, terrorists, and identity thieves.
I think it's probably a good idea. It seems that they did a lot of extra checking, or at least for documents that I would have. So I think, looking for more documentation from people is probably a good thing, and hopefully that will reduce terrorism.
The fee for upgrading to a Real ID is $8.25 or $12.25 for a commercial license, which you have to buy at the DMV. Reporting for Studio G, I'm Andre Walls.
Public Information Officer Kevin Malone assures that there is no rush to get your Real ID today. However, you might want to get on it before lines at the DMV get even longer. And we'll bring you updates on that story as that story progresses. So, out of the four of us, Alyssa, your birthday is coming up.
It is.
Which means, and it's going to be the one where you have to get a new ID.
Yeah, it's about to expire, so I have to. And now I guess I'm going to have to get a Real ID and pay that, what, $12.95?
$12.95. Well, you don't have to, like you said, Kevin Malone, Public Information Officer. He said that it is optional.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's optional for you. Do you like to travel? Do you like to fly airplanes? Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it would be a good idea to go ahead and get one, because once 2016 starts, you're not going to be able to board airplanes or any federal facilities without a Real ID. So that, I think that kind of ensures everyone's protection identity, don't you think? Because since 9/11 was crazy with the terrorist attacks and all that, it will kind of ensure that people are who they say are, as Nicole said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, but that does not seem optional.
That's true. I mean, especially like me and Monica are from Hawaii. Like, we have no choice. Like, to get off an island, the only thing that you can do is jump on a plane. So, I mean, for people like that, it is basically not optional. Like, you have to do it because that's our means of travel, even between islands. Like, we can't just drive. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad it's at least until 2016 because you scared me a little bit. I'm going out of the country next week. After your story aired, I was like, oh my God, I don't got time for this.
And especially with the DMV lines getting even longer. I mean, I was on my way here and I saw the line was out the door. And I mean, as we see in LVRJ, they're stating that lines are getting even longer with 3-hour waits, 4-hour waits, and a lot of people aren't happy about that. I mean, I definitely wouldn't be happy about that.
Well,
So
people are going to be standing in line till 2016 for their IDs. I don't know if that's going to work out either.
Yeah, no.
But
exactly.
it'll definitely ensure protection, I think, because you have to show proof of identity, you have to show where your license or your address is in the state, and you have to show your social security card. So, I mean, there is ways to kind of forge that, but I think they're taking the right steps to kind of making sure that everyone's safe.
But don't you need all those things to get your current ID now?
I think you just need your social and your
Just two
your
forms?
former ID, or it's 2 forms, yeah.
Okay.
But
So this time you need like everything.
yeah, they just want more
Oh wow.
assurance to
I
kind of make
wonder.
you
I
protected.
wonder how this is going to play into those that are here on like deferred action, where their permits are basically letting them live and work, or like airlines, people coming into the U.S. because I'm sure this isn't applying to people out of the U.S. So how do we ensure that?
Well, once you move, say you do get your real ID in Nevada, it's very simple to go to another DMV in another state to go and renew that. You just have to show them that you do have one. You don't have to bring any paperwork. So once you get it, you've got it. And then you're just able to go ahead and update that. I mean, you will have to go to the DMV again, but once you show them that you do have the real ID, then you can go ahead and get another one in another state.
So
Wow.
they do have those kiosks where you could just kind of renew them and not have too much. With the real IDs, can you use those?
I'm not entirely sure, but with the kiosk now, it's getting a little bit crazy with because it went down earlier this week, but and it is adding to the wait line at the DMV. But hopefully they can get that fixed, and maybe who knows in the future we can see that you can get your real ID renewed there.
And you're going to bring us a story about lines at the DMV, right? Or planning to?
Yes, I am.
So
and-
that'll be interesting
and
to tie to
their
this.
actions to try to fix that. So.
All right. Well, coming up after the break, Monica Medrano shows us how one hobby combines music and mice. Stay with us.
My show is called Window on the Middle East, and it deals with all the issues that deal with the Middle East. Middle East is a very important part of the world. I grew up in America, and yet I'm from the Middle East. It's a commoner's viewpoint based on experience as well as scholarship. My name is Shervin Mushuri. I'm the host of the talk show Window on the Middle East at the rebelhd2.com.
The name of my show is called Perfect Music Radio. The music that I play is pop music, alternative music, a little bit of R&B, and just a drop of hip hop. Giving information about what's going on in today's society, technology, entertainment, not just in the community, but outside of the community. You're listening to Perfect Music Radio with me, Lily, right here on 91.5, the Rebel HD2.
Welcome back. This week, we brought to you a story that combines art, music, and animals. Reporter Monica Medrano takes us into that world that blends rock and roll and taxidermy. Well, it looks like we're having a bit of technical difficulties, and I wish we could have seen that package about taxidermy. Do you want to go ahead and just brief us on what your friend does?
Yeah, sure. So I have a friend that she basically buys these frozen mice from the pet stores, and they sell dead frozen mice for the purpose of feeding like your pet reptiles. She doesn't have pet reptiles, but what she does is she cuts them open and fills them with like clay, I believe, and then she dresses them in these little costumes, like little doll clothes and stuff, and makes them into little rock and roll characters. So she's done Elton John and Kiss so far.
And they just sit in her house, like for fun? showcase?
Yeah, I think she's gonna make them into displays and have them on a little stage with like little lights and stuff, but she kind of just does this for fun, for no reason. I guess people have asked her if she wanted to sell them and stuff, but she doesn't quite know if she's gonna sell the first one because maybe has some special sentimental value, I guess, so.
That's an interesting hobby. How did she even come up with that? I'd never even heard of it. How did she decide that's what I want to do
cross
as
her
my
mind? Like, I'm
I
gonna
think
go
I'm
to the
gonna
pet store
buy
and
some
get
dead
some
mice
frozen mice
for the reptile that I don't have.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, we're gonna go back to that package since Andre doesn't know really what taxidermy is. So let's take a look at that.
Taxidermy might be a common hobby amongst some hunters, but one animal lover takes her collection to another level.
Oh, I think the biggest question I get is if I go out and kill the animals myself. As soon as I say I do taxidermy, I think people just like get this feeling as though I've gone out and butchered these animals and hunted them.
Frozen mice are sold in pet stores for the purpose of feeding pet reptiles. But animal lover Christine Pascusa takes these little guys and fills them with love.
Okay, I guess people have this misconception that because I can actually cut up and gut and, do all those things to a cute little creature, how can I love animals? They almost see it as cruelty to animals. But I don't think that's so. I think I'm able to detach from the cruelty. I don't see it as cruel. I'm kind of just doing my art. And to me, I feel like I'm transforming them into little superstars and I'm giving them a whole new life.
A new life on a stage paying tribute to stars like Elton John and the classic rock band Kiss.
So right now I've got the 4 characters and they're in full costume, but I do want to put them on a stage, like a concert stage, and have like little LED lights in the background and have a full-blown performance.
Pascusa says she doesn't plan on selling the little guys, but might consider it one day.
Some people did want to buy it. I don't know if I would sell the first one I did. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Reporting for Studio G, I'm Monica Medrano.
Okay, so now that you've seen what taxidermy is, tell me now what you think.
I'm a little creeped out a little by it. I don't know what to feel about it, but what I do want to know, because you did mention that she has a husband and she's pregnant, what does her husband think about that?
Oh, her husband, it absolutely freaks him out. And I really wanted to get a little soundbite of him, but he just doesn't even want her to do it because she's pregnant and there's chemicals and stuff. But she's like, no, it's fine because it's totally safe. But she's not allowed to do it right now while she's pregnant. So no harm to, the child, no harm to animals. So it's a good time.
That is a good time.
All right. Coming up, what to expect in the next couple months for the Downtown Las Vegas project.
Sunday evening jazz. I mainly play a lot of contemporary jazz music from the 1960s up until about 2012, 2013. When I go on, just explain who it was, the name of the song, the name of the artist, maybe the name of the album, their career. I just hope that everybody enjoys it and appreciate it for the kind of music it is and how great it is. My name is Sam and I host Sunday Evening Jazz on the rebelhd2.com.
Through our events, we promote that we are a national service fraternity. We do service to our campus, to our community, to our college, and to our nation as participating citizens. Our cardinal principles are leadership, friendship, and service, and that you can have a great time helping out your local community and your college. We are the Alpha Zeta Upsilon chapter of Alpha Phi Omega, a national co-ed service fraternity.
Teach for America is an opportunity to inspire children to be the best they can be.
When I grow up, I want to be an actor. When I grow up, I want to be a police officer.
Give Nevada a brighter future by enriching our children's lives and inspiring them to achieve their greatest potential.
When I grow up, I'll be a scientist. When I grow up, I want to be a lawyer. When I grow up, I want to be a paramedic.
It really does make an impact in their future.
You can apply online at teachforamerica.org.
Thanks for staying with us. It's been 3 years since the Downtown Project embarked on its journey to revitalize downtown Las Vegas, and with recent speculation that head visionary of the project, Tony Hsieh, is planning to leave, people are left wondering what happens next. So I know Nicole brought us that story. Could you tell us what's going on with the Downtown Project?
So it began three years ago, and it's progressed, and over the last year it's really developed, and I think we have it back. Is it back? All right, so we'll just take a look. Downtown Las Vegas never held a place in people's minds as urban and retro, and while the city had a sense of art and entertainment, it wasn't until the Downtown Project began developing that the scene was reborn and essentially given a new life. Although recently celebrating its 3rd birthday, it wasn't until 2014 that the project began making their strides towards their 2017 goals.
Last year, 2014, was really a big year for us in terms of opening new businesses. So a lot of new things have opened, and we have a few more things that will be opening this year. And what we hope to see is by 2017, everything that we've invested in so far will not only be open, but they will have become sustainable.
The Downtown Project began when Tony Hsieh, the CEO of Zappos, decided to move the Zappos campus downtown. The seed of the project was to not just have the Zappos campus be inclusive of just the employees, but to make an investment into the revitalization of the downtown area. Arts and education are 2 key factors for the project, both of which hatched the idea of opening a bookstore. The idea was brought to life when Drew Cohen, co-founder of the Writer's Block, opened Las Vegas's first independent bookstore in the heart of downtown.
We liked the urban and walkable vibe of downtown. I think a bookstore is a good fit for an area that has a high density of businesses and living locations and apartments and homes, I should say. But also it's central. I mean, the downtown is sort of at the crux of the city where all the other districts intersect. So we felt like it was a good centralized location to open it.
Despite the revitalization the project has brought and plans to bring as they plan to open 6 new businesses, there has been talk that Tony Hsieh is planning to step down from the project.
So there were some misconceptions about that. There were some ideas that maybe Tony had stepped down. Tony was never the CEO of Downtown Project. From the very beginning, it was his vision, and it was his money, that private investment, that brought it to life. But he has been the leader and really the head visionary of Downtown Project from the very beginning. He's never really stepped away from Downtown Project. He never will, because it is his investment.
The project will continue to work to revitalize downtown, and the hope is that patrons will continue to explore and learn that downtown is a new and vibrant city core.
For more information on the Downtown Project or to learn about what shops and restaurants make up the project, visit their website, downtownproject.com. So there is a lot of new stuff that's been coming, and it's been nice to see what's going on downtown.
Yeah, so there's not only new stuff that's coming to like Container Park, which is their biggest thing. There's also new shops just building down that street. So if you're on Fremont and you walk out, I believe it's on towards 6th. So you have 6th, and then you have 7th, and then just continuing down there. They're just continuing to just build and improve. And one of the restaurants that I found to be the most interesting is this Chinese restaurant that they're planning to open. It's called Chow, and they're going to serve Chinese food and fried chicken, which I've never put together because it's different.
That's kind of an interesting mix. What kind of shops are they planning to expand? Because I know they have a lot of bars and stuff down there. So what are they planning to open more bars or restaurants? Because I don't really see a lot of restaurants there.
Yeah, so a lot of their restaurants are their bars, if you've ever been downtown, but they are planning to open a couple new restaurants. There's that Chinese one, there's I want to say it's a gluten-free one, or like a really healthy one, an all-American type of food. As far as more bars go, they're trying to incorporate more music, and they're bringing that recording studio, and next to that is going to be another music venue. And a lot of downtown Las Vegas, a part of this project was to bring more music, bring more art, bring more things that people actually want to go to and hang out at.
Is that kind of trying to attract more people, like locals, because a lot of locals do go downtown instead of the Strip? So is that their market that they're trying to go for?
I think that's what it started as, and I think as people who are visiting are hearing more about it, I think it attracts them as well, because they're bringing in things from other places.
It also seems like it's going to be more family friendly. Would you say that that's kind of the goal?
I think, well, Container Park is very family friendly until after, I think it's 9 or 10, that then you have to be 21 in order to be in there. But they have like a little park, a playground, there was that whole slide structure. I think it is supposed to be more family friendly. It's more inviting and more to build education, and it's a more visual thing than the strip is.
How did you get to be able to film down there? Were they really strict with you using a camera, or did you kind of have to do anything?
I Facebooked Tony Shea, and then Maria, the woman from the video, she was like, oh yeah, I'll take you around and I'll give you a tour, and then we'll go from there and you'll just walk around with me. She took me into the Container Park, and she was just like, hey, I'm from Downtown Project, and everyone's like, oh, come film, and I was like, okay. So it was really inviting, really, like, it wasn't difficult at all.
So do you guys want to hit up downtown this weekend?
Yes.
See me at Vanguard. Let's talk about it.
Vanguard.
Perfect. Coming up after the break, a little girl with dreams of going for the gold. We'll be right back.
The show Alternativa. It's the alternative in Spanish. It's mainly a music show. We play Latin alternative music from all over Latin America, Mexico, Chile, sometimes Spain. Sometimes we talk about news stories that we feel aren't being covered in like mainstream media, specifically Latin stories. It could be anything like protest, social activism, anything we find interesting, pretty much. I want them to discover new music. I don't think that many people in the U.S. know about Latin alternative music. It's very similar to alternative music here in the U.S., but in Spanish, and it talks about issues going on over there. And also kind of see what's going on in Latin America. There's a lot of, I think, activism that's kind of missing in the U.S. a little bit.
My name is Bruce Gill. I'm the host of La Alternativa. Check it out at therebelhd2.com.
Welcome back. One local Las Vegas girl has big dreams of going to the Olympics. Reporter Alyssa Stein has more. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to see that package until hopefully in a bit, but tell us about it.
All right, so actually, I believe the package is here, so let's watch it and it'll explain for itself.
Dream of becoming a teacher, a doctor, but how about an Olympic figure skater?
My name is Madison Sparks. I'm 12 years old. I'm an ice skater.
Madison's mother, Tiffany Sparks, started putting her daughter in figure skating lessons when she was only 4 years old.
Took off on like no one else, had balance on both her feet, and she begged me for lessons for her to figure skate.
I love ice skating because it's the closest thing you can get to flying.
One out of the three of Madison's coaches, Melissa Melantano, former Olympic figure skater, sees the potential of her young student.
Maddie, I think, has a lot of natural ability. She's got great potential.
Madison and her mother travel back and forth from Las Vegas, Nevada to Lake Arrowhead, California for her training.
I train 6 days a week and I skate 4 to 5 hours a day.
At age 16, Madison will be able to qualify for the Olympics and hopefully win gold for the U.S.
For Studio G, I'm Alyssa Stein.
So I'm really glad that we got to see that.
Yeah.
And why don't you just tell us?
So that's actually my little sister, and she is 12 years old, and she's been ice skating since she was about, 4 and 5, and I mean, took off, and she loves it. It's crazy. She started like racing hockey players, like, I know, like when she was like 6, and
How is she doing now with like, what do they have tournaments of ice skating? How does that work?
Tournaments of ice skating.
Does she do artistic?
Yeah, so she has competitions and she'll travel from California, Las Vegas, and then actually Arizona and Utah. So she goes all over, and she goes to the ice rink about 3 times a day and stays there for about 3 to 4 hours. Like, pretty much my mom and her live.
Does she go, how does she fit school into?
She's homeschooled.
3 to 4 hours, oh, okay.
Yeah, had to be homeschooled.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they realized when she was in elementary school, like, all right, this isn't going to work. It's interfering with ice time, so.
So what was it like growing up watching her kind of go through?
It's kind of crazy because at first I was like, okay, this is just a trend. You know, this is just, you know, everyone, like, I played soccer, I did gymnastics, I did dance. Like, we all go through all those, and I was like, this is not going to last. And she started winning first place for every single competition, and ever since then, I mean, my parents are hardcore set on her going to the Olympics, and she trains with not only 3 Olympic coaches, but she has like an aerialist, and she has this guy that, like, this big CrossFit guy that trains her. Like, I mean, this huge man that, like, she's like this big, like, running around and yelling at her, and she's more athletic than I am. I mean, it's crazy.
So when can she officially, like, actually go to the Olympics?
I believe she has to be 15 to qualify. But from what my mom's telling me is she's going to try to go on the U.S. figure skating team first, and then from there. I'm not quite sure of how it, like, exactly works. It's so competitive that I know a lot of people from the U.S. actually go to different countries, and they'll become citizens there just to compete on their teams, because the U.S. is so so hard to get into.
Kind of going back to the package, my favorite shot was definitely the skate stopping in front of the camera with the ice splashing on it. How did you come up with that idea? Did someone else give it to you, or did you?
No, I mean, she's such a little goober, and she loves spraying us with all of us with ice all the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's get everyone to feel the ice. I'll, like, be there on the rink, you know. I wanted you guys to be immersed into the package, really, and like, her lifestyle. I mean, that is her lifestyle, is there, living there every single day. It's pretty crazy, and I mean, yeah, I've gotten splashed with a lot of ice.
So does she do more team skating or individual skating?
It's more individual. I know my mom is looking into having her partner, so where she goes with a guy. And I mean, these little boys, they take it very seriously. I think, like, they're gonna, like, throw her up in the air and stuff, and scares me. But yeah, so it's more individual. That's the thing with ice skating. It is very one team sport, you know, but if you do have a partner, you guys have to feel each other out and predict the next moves, and it's just very synchronized, and it's a very, like, beautiful thing, like, slow. But yeah, she's right now just by herself, training every single day. I think she has a competition actually coming up in a month in Arizona, I believe. So.
Oh, well, good luck to her.
Yeah, best of luck to her and your family, and congratulations on that. Those were our top stories from this past week. Be sure to tune in Tuesday to hear about what's happening around the Valley. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day, Las Vegas.
All right, we're supposed to chat now.
And
That was
what was on the prompter?